Well, hello there, gang. Welcome to the 30. I am your host, Patrick. And let's see, this is episode 141, 141. We are creeping up to our 150th episode. Remember, we have something special that will take place on that date. I'm going to reveal what that date is next week because we're going to celebrate not only our 150th episode, but we're also going to celebrate our third year, 3 years of doing the 30. Can you imagine that? 3 years, 141 times that we've done this nonstop. But it has been fun. We've met some tremendous guests. We have had some awesome viewers and listeners throughout this time. And this month, we are celebrating Women's History Month for the month of March. And I tell you, we've had some great guests up to this point. And today we're going to continue. Today we're going to be talking about women in business. If you want to see more of the 30, make sure that you go to our YouTube channel. Of course, the 30 is produced by the Jackman Group LLC. Make sure that you go to our YouTube channel, and all of our episodes from 2020 up to now are listed there, so you can go back and replay anything that you want. We're also streaming live to Facebook as well as YouTube. So thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate you. I'm telling you, I've told you last week that we bring nothing but the best on the 30. And tonight we will continue. I've spoken with her. I built her up last week, and I know she's going to be awesome. She's going to knock it out of the park. So make sure, do me a huge favor. Make sure that you like the broadcast, but even more, make sure that you share it out on your socials. So do that right now because you don't want to miss this. If you want information, she's going to talk about entrepreneurship because she termed herself as a serial entrepreneur, right? If you want to learn about the metaverse, if you want to learn about online and virtual events, if you want to know about soap making, because she's also known as this great soap maker online, we're going to be talking about that. I am going to welcome to the 30 stage none other than Zakia. Zakia, thank you for joining us on the 30 on today.
Thank you for having me, Patrick. I'm just all smiles as you're doing that introduction. I'm like, can I record that and just use that somewhere else? That's pretty cool.
You have my permission to. No problem. So tell our viewers and listeners who you are, what you do, everything. We want to know everything, and I'll be asking you a series of questions as you know. But who is Zakia?
Sure. And I know this is the 30, so I can't give you everything. But I will try my best to be as concise as possible. As Patrick has said, I have termed myself as a serial entrepreneur. I got started with entrepreneurship in 2016, making handmade soap and leveraging live streaming. From there, I transitioned to online courses with Live Soap School. I should mention that my background is instructional design. And so I was able to leverage that learning and development side with actually teaching people how to do what it was they were watching me do live. Then the pandemic came about. And so I had an opportunity to pivot once again. And I started producing virtual and hybrid conferences when the world shut down. And I got a chance to pivot again because I always see opportunity where there are obstacles. And so I created my own software as a service solution, which is MoveBackstage. And now I have pivoted yet again to start teaching women how to leverage technology for their online business and making sure that I'm staying on top of technology like the metaverse and AI. And I know ChatGPT is one of them that everybody is excited about, but there are many, many more. So I think that's the shortest way I can answer that question.
Well, thank you, Zakia. So, needless to say, you are quite busy or
Yes.
have been.
For sure. And I'm a mama of two, one in college
Wow.
and an 8-year-old. So there's never a dull moment.
Wow. So you're always on the go. So let's talk about when did you start entrepreneurship? When did you know it was time? Okay, I want to do my own, whether it was a side gig or full time. When did you start and when did you know?
Um, I think I started in 2015. There was something very magical about live streaming because for my entire life, I was always brought up to you work until you're 65 and you retire with your pension, and there you have it, right? So that was the world I came from. However, live streaming showed me that there was no middleman and there were plenty of tools out here to really be able to set yourself up online. So the interest was sparked by watching all of these small business owners via live streaming, but I didn't really go all in and truthfully feel like a business owner until I left my full-time job in 2020 and I was completely business, business, business.
So did you start the businesses? So you started in 2015, but you
Hmm.
went full time in 2020. So you were doing a side gig like all of us
Yes.
had done, right? So what was your first couple of businesses that you went with?
Soap making. Soap
Ah,
making, and it was not even an idea that it was going to be a business. It was more about here's this hobby that I have, and the more I showed up for my community, they started asking questions of where can I buy it. There was actually a coworker. We're not friends anymore, but there was a coworker who planted the seed that it could be a business when she asked me if I could make a custom loaf for her to give away as teachers' gifts. And at that point, and she asked me one critical question: how much would you charge? And I never thought about, well, how much would I charge? And then that whole path started. So the soap making was a combination of a coworker asking for it, and then these same people who had been watching me with this hobby for about 6 months. In January of 2016, I launched my online store to over 100 orders, and I had to call out of work so that I could fulfill those orders. And I was like, oh, this is a thing, right? So that was when it really became like, oh, and then there's always systems that you have to learn when you are starting your businesses.
so soap making. Why soap making? What sparked you to get into soap making? And secondly, what types of soaps do you make? Is it just a normal soap or is it more organic soaps? There's so many questions here, Zakia.
Well, I'm glad you know it's soap because normally when I say soap, people think I say soup or silk. So we are all clear. We are talking about the thing that you bathe with. I make all natural soap. And what drew me to it was honestly, I needed something to unplug at the end of the day that had nothing to do with work. It was really stressful. It was during a time that I was going through postpartum depression, and so it was really it's a meditative zen moment that you kind of experience as you are mixing the ingredients up. And it's kind of alchemy. You're taking these seemingly very disparate ingredients and creating something that can be used every single day. You also get to express your creativity. I never, ever would have called myself creative because I had a very narrow box of what that meant. I thought because I didn't know how to draw, I was not creative. But this soap making for me, I could mix different oils, different butters, different essential oils, different colors. I could shape shift it and people loved it. So it was kind of I would say a meditative Zen space that I could get into. And there was a growing interest in it when I was live streaming it at the same time. I was fortunate that I wasn't in a place on social media where other soap makers were, right? I was the only one in that space. So all eyes were on me, and that was on Twitter. So it worked
Wow,
in my favor.
there you go. So online, you're known as the soap lady, right?
Yes.
You have a space because I've seen you actually live streaming making soap. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I actually in 2020 when I left my full-time job, I knew I needed a space. The soap making had started taking over the living room, the kitchen, the dining room. It just kept expanding and expanding. And as it expanded, the virtual event business was also taking off simultaneously. So I made a conscious decision that I was going to build a space in my backyard and call it my she shed. And it's kind of hilarious to call it a she shed now because it's pretty much the size of my actual house. But it's a two-story garage, and the first floor is where I make and ship out all of the soap products. And then the second floor is where I was producing more of an office space for the virtual events. And so I got all the multi-streaming stuff, the cameras, the lights, the mics, all of that happens. And I just continue to build on what I was learning year over year with the live streaming and then multi-purposing the content and putting it on a blog and taking pictures. So it's kind of an evolutionary process that one led into the other and another and another.
So is the soap business one of your main businesses? How's that business coming along?
No, the teaching of soap making is
Got
the
it.
main business. I do more wholesale for the soap making. So typically people who are ordering 5 to 7 loaves at a time instead of the individual bars is more so where that income source comes in. Primarily, it's the teaching of how to make soap and then how to get set up with an online business with the soap making.
That's pretty fascinating. So you have a whole community of soap makers and you teach them how to make it, how to sell it.
Yes.
Wow.
Soap Nation is what we go by, Patrick. Soap Nation.
Soap Nation. That's pretty cool. So you
Yeah.
carved out your own business, right? People
Yeah.
were selling soap, but you went above and beyond. You says, okay, I'm going to sell it, but I'm also going to put it online and I'm going to teach others how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting. Again, leverage. I always tell people leverage the skills that you have because I had been doing the learning and development, building online courses for corporate America, when people started asking, well, hey, can you teach us? This gave me an opportunity to create something that I owned in my own space with something that I love making. And so I really hope that as people are hearing this part anyway, they're considering what is it that I've learned from this job that I love or I hate that I can apply in what it is that I'm doing. And so the soap making, the way that was able to morph from me making the product to teaching how to make the product, that's what also led into me being able to start producing virtual conferences because again, I saw an opportunity in an obstacle.
Hmm.
So in 2020, when the world shut down, I got 3 cancellations for conferences, right? So I was supposed to speak at 3 different conferences, 2 soap making and one human resource a SHRM conference. The same week, all of them canceled. And I'm thinking, like, why are we canceling? Why don't we just go live? Why don't we host these events? And I actually proposed that, and they said no, the board would never do it. And I produced my own virtual soap summit. It's the first of its kind, never had been done. While most people were trying to figure out what a pivot meant, I was in a full blown pivot with 15 speakers, 2 days nonstop. And this was August the 14th of 2020. The world shut down in March, and I was already in a virtual conference. But that actually sparked Veda, Virtual
Okay.
Experience Design Agency, because I shared that on social. And one of the libraries that I used to volunteer at teaching soap making, that librarian saw that posting and said, hey, you know that thing you did for soap makers? Can you do that for these group of librarians because we have to cancel our conference? So in May of 2020, I was in front of 600 librarians with the solution of how they could stay connected with their patrons. So my calendar was booked. 75 events.
Wow.
75. So
Zak-
yeah,
Wow. That is that's a fascinating story. So you found a problem and you
oh,
created a solution,
exactly. Yep,
right? And that's what entrepreneurs do. You identify a problem, you come up with a solution that can benefit many people.
exactly.
So you went from soap making to teaching others how to make and sell their soap. Then you went to the librarian piece and your online space. So talk about the next step that you went to, because this is great.
Sure. So the next thing was I saw another problem, right? Most of the event platforms, they focus on the attendee experience. Like, what is the how are people registering? How does the landing page look? And every single one of them forgot about the speaker experience. So, the same challenges that I would go through when I was working with my clients is the organization of the speakers. So, I created my own software as a service, which is all of the things that you need to do in order to manage your speakers for an event. And that was scratching my own itch. It was, I need a way where it's not the night before a conference and I don't know if this really, really amazing speaker knows how to get on this platform. Do we have all of the signatures for it? Have we done a tech check? So, all of those things that would keep me up as an organizer, I said, I need a better way. And this created a way with MoveBackstage is the name of the software as a service. So that's where we move to next in this journey that just keeps on going. Pain point, solution. I
Solution.
never say it can't
Fantastic.
be fixed.
So when we come back, I'm going to take a 10-second break. When we come back, I want to know about Move Stage,
Move backstage.
Move Backstage, movebackstage.com. So I want to hear about that. And then I want to move into the next round of technology. I want to hear what you're doing now. I know you're doing some things in a metaverse, and people want to know, well, what is the metaverse? What is this thing? Then I want to hear about AI. So we have a lot to talk about. So stick around 10 seconds and I'll be right back with Zakia. If you have a question for her or comment, make sure you put it in the comments page, in the comments or chat field, and we'll make sure that we bring it up and she will answer it. So we'll be right back. Give me 10 seconds. All right, welcome back to the 30. The 30, of course, is a production of the Jackman Group LLC. We are a training and development firm focusing primarily on leadership development, coaching, business strategy, sales training, and team enhancements. If you want to get a hold of us, I will, at the end of the show, I will let you know how you can do that. But I'm talking to Zakia Ringgold, and Zakia is out of Pennsylvania, right, Zakia?
Correct.
Out of Philly. Are you an Eagles fan?
I am.
Okay, good.
I'm very disappointed, but yes.
Okay, all right.
We always got next year.
Well, somehow that happens here where we are in Western New York. That there's always next year for the Bills as well. So, but that's how it is. So, Zakia, we were talking about your evolution coming from your side gig, now you're full time. And we were talking about the last one, we talked about your new endeavor, your new company. So tell us what that is and what it does.
So, Move Backstage is really for any event organizer. If you are someone who absolutely has a lot of events that you're doing and you're kind of struggling with keeping everything organized, Move Backstage allows you to lay out kind of a project plan of what needs to happen and ensures that all of your speakers and your vendors or your sponsors are in alignment and you can keep your finger on the pulse of what needs to happen and what has happened so that you know they're ready to move to the stage on the day of production. So it's a software solution and it really makes it really simple to stay organized with your events.
Great. And how long have you been doing this? When was it started? Where are you now? And who's your target audience?
Um, Primarily, I would say so. It got started in 2021. It was a year of development with that, and that's a whole nother learning curve, maybe a whole book on what it took to get that done because I am not a developer, right? So I had to outsource that, but constant back and forth. Um, and the target audience is primarily executive directors. Executive directors are the ones that are typically tasked with putting on galas or events and organizing all of these speakers. And they're typically doing it off the side of their desk. And so this actually helps them to know what needs to happen and make sure that it's actually happening. So executive directors who are tasked with doing virtual or hybrid or in-person events, this would be the solution for them.
Okay, great. And I know you're as a tech person, so you said that you didn't know that you were creative, but
Mm-mm.
you're very creative.
Yes, I
You
know
are
that now.
very
That
creative.
has changed. That has changed. It was a very narrow box of what my definition is. If you can't draw, you can't be creative. And I can't make a stick figure to save my life.
But outside of that, so you're using technology as far as your creativity is concerned. And I think we met, was it last year, 2022 or 2021? I
It
can't
was
remember.
21, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I was fascinated. I think we met in the Summiteers, but we met through Erica, either
Yes.
Erica or Sabrina, one of those two. But I think it was Erica. And you were telling us something about the metaverse. And I remember that. And I was like, what is she talking about? What is the metaverse? And you were showing us about what it is. And then the funny thing is that when I went to church, I was talking to my pastor, my senior pastor, and he was telling me about church and the metaverse. And I'm like, wow, there's something to this metaverse.
Here.
So tell our viewers, what is the metaverse? What can we do in the metaverse? And I know that we're going to show a clip of what it looks like.
Yeah, and that's a very small clip. So the metaverse is kind of Web 3.0. It's another way of experiencing the World Wide Web. You can exercise in there, you can meet people in there, you can do commerce in there, and you can build community in there. And the idea is you're in this immersive environment so that you are able to experience what is happening around you in more of a it's no longer a 2D environment, but more of a 3D environment. And I believe, Patrick, what you saw was when I was in the multiverse, where I had set up an online storefront for my soap business, right? And that was people could come into my multiverse. They could see the products that I was making, they could watch the videos, and they could go directly to my site and order from within the multiverse. And those order values were 3 times the amount of other people who found me from other means because you can track where your traffic is coming from. And typically, those that were in the metaverse spent 2 to 3 times more than my average order value.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
there's some value to the metaverse.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The only thing is, it's still in play, if you will, in terms of figuring out the cost of actually getting a headset. That's one way that you can engage in the
Mhm.
metaverse. The cost of that is a little cost prohibitive for people. And then there's the challenge with interoperability. And what that means is if I create an avatar in the multiverse, I can't then turn around and use that avatar in another space.
Okay.
And the idea is you're supposed to be able to seamlessly go from one environment to another. And we're not quite there yet. So I think that's two of the big challenges of widespread adoption of it. but we are pretty close with it. In the meantime, it's a fun space. You can get your exercise done and you can meet a lot of amazing people from all over the world.
Now, my research tells me is that as far as the metaverse, it is good for people that are um, not engaging others, don't like to engage others in person,
Yeah.
right? More of the shy. So when they get to the metaverse, now they can engage others. Is that
Yeah.
right? Is that one
That
of the
I would
uses?
say that's true. Yeah, I would
Okay.
think, and I hate to just always say introvert this, that, but yeah, I would say a lot of the folks that are in there would call themselves introverts.
Introverts. Okay.
Yeah.
And I also heard that there are people buying stuff, land and everything in the metaverse. Like
Yeah.
some superstars are buying land, buying property in the metaverse. It's crazy.
Yeah. In the thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for this digital real estate. But if you think about it, it could be, and I hate speculation, so I don't want to say that, but some people are saying that this is the new version of real estate. You know how Main Street was where everybody wanted to be with the business?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was what was your .com in Web 2.0. In Web 3.0 is what is your digital real estate that people can go to that you could then have advertising on. How are you attracting traffic there? So if the evolution continues, right, there's a lot of malls that are closing and a lot of online stores that are opening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those online stores, their next iteration will probably be the metaverse.
Oh my gosh, my head is exploding. This. I can see people that are online now that's watching the show. They're probably saying, "What is that nerd talking about? Patrick is at it again. He has someone else in there that's talking about stuff that I had no idea about." Don't
Yeah.
worry, folks. It is coming. You will see it. You will hear about it. So hang on. So let's show, as we show a basic clip here. I want you to talk about it, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up with AI and chat GPT and their competitors. So let me see if I can show this.
Sure. Okay. So what we're looking at is this is a space within Supernatural. I'm wearing a headset, and these are the two controllers that you're using. But each time you see a triangle, that's actually a squat. And then this is exercises for your arms. So the thing about Supernatural is that it will take you to various places. You have coaches like you would have if you go into a regular gym. And then this is just constantly just doing that. Now, some people may get seasick. I don't know how long you want to leave that video going for them. But if I were to look around in this space, it changes your environment almost immediately. You have no idea that you are in your living room or in your dining room if you stay in here long enough. And
That's
so,
that's crazy.
yeah,
So you're wearing your VR glasses? Is that
yes,
it?
it's
Okay,
the whole headset. It's the Oculus Quest or the
right.
Meta Quest now. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's becoming a big piece. Actually, I have a pair here. I haven't used it yet, but I know. I got to get into it because VR is huge.
Yeah.
So so let's talk about your the next big thing, right? So we originally the first big thing in 2020 was Clubhouse, which is still going on, still millions of people in the Clubhouse. But now we're hearing about AI and
Oh, yeah.
Chat GPT and their competitors. Again, what is AI? Who are the real players in AI, and why should I be concerned about AI?
Um, I think so. If we just leave it at Chat GPT, because AI is huge, or primarily with Chat GPT, it creates conversational searching in responses. So typically, when you go to Google, you'll type in how to make soap, and maybe Zakia's blog will come up. Chat GPT remembers that that's the question that you asked. So if I say how to make soap, it'll give me complete instructions on how to do such a thing. And I can say, well, can you update that because I want to make a 100% plant based soap? it will then remember what we were talking about and continue that conversation. The people who are getting the most bang for their buck with it now are marketers, naturally. They're always the first to start gravitating to something. And that's because you can create complete content blueprints from this tool. You can have it help you identify your ideal customer. You can have it compare different tools. You can have it write the outline for your book or your course, or your lead magnet, or whatever it is that you need to create content wise. I have successfully created proposals that have been accepted, which then translates to dollars and cents in my bottom line. I have had it do social media campaigns for me where it gives me the exact captions to use. But aside from the content, there's also AI image generation, where remember I said I'm not an artist or I'm not a creative, but this can create some really, really amazing, almost lifelike AI images. So I would say it's nothing to be afraid of, but it is something that you do want to harness, if for nothing else, just to keep your finger on the pulse. But what I have found is it really helps to increase your productivity, and it helps you to answer questions where you may be scratching your head for a long time. The thing to really be aware of is it is a language learning or a language model. So it's still learning. And ChatGPT in particular, its data only goes up to 2021. So
Mm.
it's great for evergreen content. But if I were to say, what are the best live streaming tools? It doesn't have data about the tools that have been updated since 2021.
Got
So
it.
the data is not as relevant, or it's not as recent. But if you're searching for evergreen content, things that never change, it is really an awesome tool.
Now, who's the competitor? What to?
They're all competing at this point. So this was created by OpenAI.
Okay.
And when OpenAI, they grew, I believe it was 1 million users in 1 week started
Wow.
using the tool. And this is problematic for the big players like Google, who depend on you to search because that's how they're able to serve you your ads or
Hmm.
make sure they're getting you in places. So Google is a competitor. Bing is a competitor. Mainly those search engines are trying to figure out how can we, Amazon, all of them are trying to figure out how can they implement AI for their customers. Both Bing and Google. Google has Bard now. You have to be invited for that. In Bing, you have to have a Microsoft account in order to use it. But ChatGPT started out as free. It has now moved to a freemium model because it does crash pretty frequently.
Hmm.
You can upgrade to their Plus account for $20 a month. And I know a lot of folks, myself included, have gone ahead and paid that $20 a month. It is a time saver.
So the last question is how would it benefit a business owner, small business owner, but a business owner? How would it benefit them?
Depends on where they are. I think content creation is so important for all business owners, whether you're brick and mortar or online. So it can help you to come up with headlines. I'm not a copywriter by trade, and it can help you. You can tell it what style you want it to write a headline in. If you need to plan your video content, if you need to plan your podcasting content, your product descriptions, your marketing campaigns, if you are able to structure your prompts, and that's the information that you're giving it, so that you can get the information that you need out of it, it can become a virtual assistant for you, an unpaid virtual assistant that gives you results in a matter of seconds.
Wow. Wow. Fantastic. We can go on forever, Zakia. What do you have coming up next so that you want our viewers and listeners to see what's on the horizon for you?
Well, very similar to Live Soap School. I have learned a lot these last 7 years. And as a result of that, my newest venture is making sure that other women know about the tools that are available for them to start and grow their businesses leveraging online technology. So my website, ZakiaRinggold.com, I guess this would be business number 5. ZakiaRinggold.com, we will be hosting a live launch party on April the 1st. That's next Saturday with some prizes and all of that. Go there and get on our VIP list. And then that way you'll get notified and be entered to win some amazing prizes, something to do with business, something to do with live streaming, something to do with podcasting. You don't want to miss it. So head over there and you will be in the live launch party as a VIP and eligible to win.
Now, Zakia, is this for women only, or can I show up? Can other guys show up, or is it
You're
just for women?
invited, but don't try and take over from the ladies. I'm focusing on
Okay.
women.
All right. So
Yeah, I
women
don't
only. So women
fellas.
only.
Fellas can come and
Okay.
celebrate and all of that, but it's really for the ladies.
All right. So it's ZakiaRinggold.com. Right under her name, you'll see it there, right on the screen. ZakiaRinggold.com. Make sure that you go and register, and get ready for those prizes. Shout out to Erica. Erica says, "Woohoo, prizes!" So make sure that you get over there and register for Zakia's online, and she can walk you through exactly what to do. She knows her stuff, folks. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure that you are part of the crowd, the VIP crowd, and win some prizes. If you do win some prizes, you heard it. If it's something that can benefit me, you can send me an email and you can forward it over to me. Anything that podcasting or streaming, if you don't like it, hey, that's okay. Send it over here. I'm sure that we can appreciate it. So Zakia, how else can someone get a hold of you if they need to, whether email you, or is that the email? That's the
Yeah,
website.
on all the socials, I'm Zakia Ringgold. You can find me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. They're the 3 places I primarily hang out. And my messenger is open. Feel free to send me a message that way, or go to ZakiaRinggold.com and subscribe, and then I'll be able to connect with you. But Messenger or LinkedIn, Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger is probably the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Okay, great. Zakia, thank you so very much. I
Thank
think
you.
we may see each other soon as we connect in Erica's great group, the Summiteers. That's where we meet on Fridays. So shout out to Erica, and shout out to everyone that is part of the group. All right, Zakia, we'll see you then. Have a good night. Okay.
Good night. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye bye. So we've been talking to Zakia Ringgold, and she's just forming her 5th business. So she's a serial entrepreneur. She is creative. She's tech savvy. And if you want to find out more about her, make sure you go to ZakiaRinggold.com. Make sure you sign up for her event that's coming up next week. And if you want to contact us here at the Jackman Group, but also for the 30, I'll give you our address, or our email address is info@jackmangroupllc.com. That's info@jackmangroupllc.com. And the Jackman Group is the producers of the 30. If you would like to be part of our team, if you would like to be part of our community, make sure that you go to our website and hit join community. We would love to have you as part of our community. Or if you want to find out what we're doing here, go to linktree/pjackman007. It's right there. Linktree, link, and then r.ee/pjackman007. And all my information is there. All of my socials are there. So make sure that you head over there and get more information about what we are doing. As I said, stay tuned. We will make an announcement next week on our anniversary show. and some of the guests that you've seen previously. I'm hoping that you will also come back, guests, and be part of our show. So until then, fans, until then, my valued viewers and listeners, I want to thank you for being here. We'll see you next week with another guest. May God bless you and your family, and be safe.
And this is this is